WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
K-Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at K-Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. K-Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg. With 24 years in law enforcement, Sergeant Frank Danish embodies community outreach. He has helped hundreds of young people become civic-minded adults through a 17-year leadership development program in the city of Boynton Beach, Florida. This program also has produced police officers with strong moral character. Also, the founder of Adopt a Cop USA, Sergeant Frank Danish, is committed to his members' education and criminal awareness in the community.
So tune in every Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern, right after Bucks on the Bookshelf, for the Sergeant Frank Show here on the WDBF Radio Networks.
And you're listening to WDBFradio.com.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. Call me a grouper. Stop fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Good morning, everyone. It is another beautiful day here in South Florida. The sun is out, and we are welcoming the sun because we have dealt with about, I guess almost 2 weeks straight worth of rain after rain after rain. I had frontal waterfront property, and I had whatever you call it. And I had water in the front, I had water in the back. We didn't know where we were going to go. We have so much water, I was getting ready to pull out the fishing rod and just go fishing in the front yard. But we are all dried out. It is a beautiful sunny day, and I have a very special guest with me this morning, the one and only Pam Worth. Good morning, Miss Pam.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. This is going to be so much fun. You have a great schedule.
I'm looking forward to this. And she pulls up this morning with her kayak. She's got her kayak behind her car. You were down in Pompano? Is that what?
That's right. I was with the Extreme Tournament in Pompano. We had about 120 entries, launched straight off the beach yesterday morning at sunrise. And it was a tournament. It was a great tournament. Lots of fish caught. Big, giant African pompano was brought in.
Wow. So I have a silly question. Now that I have seen it's smaller than I thought. I'm thinking of the picture that I showed you a little while ago, where she's sitting in this kayak and she's got a hold of a fish that's as big as the whole kayak is. So now that I've seen it, I mean, up close and personal kind of thing, I have a much better idea of what she deals with. And I don't know. I don't know how you held on to that fish. I don't know how that fish didn't flip that thing over on you. But it's pretty cool. It's the first time I've really seen a kayak up close and personal, and that was pretty neat.
I really enjoy it. What I ride is a native, and there's a lot of different ones out there. And this one has a pedal drive, so at least I have hands-free fishing. So it's like a bicycle pedal that turns a prop, and it's great. It gets you out there and it moves you around.
I tell you have like a lever or something that you move back and forth to turn?
On the side, it's kind of like a toggle switch, and it moves the rudder back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. Wow. Well, I got to tell you, after seeing that thing and then seeing the picture of you, oh, well, and it is always interesting to have Pam on because she has a perspective that a lot of people don't see. She is literally at the water's level, so she sees what's going on at the level of the water, and she experiences things that most people will not experience. She shared with me one of the stories that she went out one day with. You were showing somebody how to fish, and they found themselves in a situation where you had to help them.
Yeah.
It was, if I recall, you were guiding somebody. You were showing them how to fish with a kayak, and they either panicked or they caught something so big. I don't recall.
Oh, that's right. They panicked. They were out there, and a boat came by, and they were in their boat. I don't guide. We just were doing it as company. It was one of his first trips out, and I told him he can't fish alone, and that's a cardinal rule. And a boat came by, and he panicked and basically flipped the boat. So we were out there helping him get back in, picking up all his, anything that was floating about to get him back in there. So, he just leaned over to the side too much and leaned with the wave instead of into the wave, and the boat went right over.
Oh my goodness. And the reason I bring that up is the importance of, we had a situation here where a couple of kids who were very water savvy, about 2 years ago now, maybe a year and a half ago. They really didn't tell anybody where they were going. We're just going out to the inlet, and nobody really had an idea where they were. They ended up, I think that they ended up finding their bodies later on. Always let people know where you're going, and have some kind of plan in place. And whenever possible, make sure that you got somebody to cover your behind out there, because it can go from a puddle. I've seen it from as calm as a lake to within 15 or 20 minutes stir up waves that could, and I was in a 24-foot boat that was scaring me. So if you're in a kayak, I can't imagine.
Well, that happened yesterday. The nice thing about Joe Hector's Extreme Tournament is he has help boats out there.
Oh my.
Okay, so he's got the power boats out there that if somebody gets in trouble, boom, they're there.
Excellent.
And somebody called in. There was a call in where a boat was going under. One of the kayaks was going under, and he got there, and it turned out not to be someone that was in our competition. It just happened to be a single angler out there without any backup support, fishing on his own. And thank goodness we were there. The help boat rescued him. His boat, I put a picture on my Instagram. His boat was 3/4 under the water.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Like I said, it can change quickly there, and this was one of the things, it's one of the reasons I have Carolyn from Atlas Tracks on so often, is to remind people that we have technology that you can take with you, and if somebody's concerned about you, they'll know exactly where you are, right down to, I think she said, within 4 or 5 feet of where you are globally. This is something that is just a passion of mine to try, go out and have a good time, but while you're having a good time, make sure that you're taking all the precautions, that you're safe, and people know where you're at. So anyway, I'm up against my next guest, who is the one and only Robert Warner with Florida Fisherman Magazine. Good morning, Robert. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Hey, we're doing pretty good, my friend.
Can you hear me? Yeah. It's breaking up a little.
Yeah. So I understand, Robert, this morning you have a kind of a different topic that you want to talk about, something we really don't talk about much on the show. And I was very impressed that you were going to do that, because I have a special co-host with me that's going to go right along with that topic this morning. So let's get right into it. What was it that you wanted to bring out to the attention of the listeners?
Well, it comes up a lot on the magazine, posting pictures and whatnot. And basically the big thing is it's women who actually fish versus women who pose with fish. It becomes a daily thing, because obviously we're a magazine. People send in pictures all the time. And I've told obviously I know, but I've also told the editors, before you post these pictures, take a look at the people and see who they are, because you just don't know. And, unfortunately, there are people out there who just want to capitalize, because sport fishing has become a big thing, and the sport is growing. So there's people out there that want to capitalize, and you look at their profile and find out that they didn't ever fish before till 3 weeks ago. And their first fishing picture was from a month ago. And then there's others that, I have pulled up, and I've got fishing pictures of them from when they were 7 years old. So, and I think the problem is really this, is that, people complain about there's bikini models holding fish. Well, some of them are, and I agree with that, but some of them are not. I used in a couple of examples. Laura Thompson and Rosemary White never fish with bikinis on, but I have fished with these people, and they can outfish most people I know. Virginia Salvador, Amanda Gilbert, who was our Angler of the Year, and Melanie House from down in Key Largo fish with bikinis on sometimes they don't. And again, these are women who can outfish most of the men I know. So it's really not about what they wear. It's about taking the time to find out, are these actual fishermen or not? Are these actual anglers that do this on a daily basis? Rosemary White, for one, I think fishes daily. I'm not sure, but she sends pictures almost every day. She was a single mom, so growing up with her two boys, one of whom will be playing for the Florida Gators next year.
Wow.
Congrats to Ethan.
But I know Rosemary. I've never seen Rosemary in a bikini. She was on the cover. She was on the cover.
She was on our cover.
The Regulations also.
Yeah, she was on our cover too. She was our second cover. And actually Laura Thompson was our first cover. I have known both of these people since we started doing this, and they are great people. But I just want people to know that there are some that don't be offended, because that's what they choose to wear when they're fishing. Like I said, Virginia Salvador, who is in our magazine every month, she has her own page in the magazine, is our West Coast editor. She's from California, and I've got pictures of her, everything from overalls to bikinis to you name it. But this is, if I had to pick one, I think that is the toughest woman I have ever known fishing. She wanted to go out with us and catch amberjacks.
Oh my gosh.
So nobody actually wants to go catch amberjacks.
No.
But she did. And we went out jigging for amberjacks, and this lady was having the time of her life. And she goes, "This is better than the gym any day of the week." And she's pulling up these 60-pound amberjacks, and I'm like, damn.
Reef donkeys are a hoot.
Oh, they are. And then it's funny, because we ended up with a bunch of 80-pound braid, because one of her amberjacks got eaten by about a 10-foot tiger shark that just went crazy. We ended up with a bunch of 80-pound braid wrapped around one prop. She goes, "Just pull up the motor." She goes out, straddles the motor, pulls a knife out, and starts cutting off line. So this is a tough lady, And, Amanda Gilbert has a page called AG Outdoors. She's done everything from hunting, showing how to field dress a deer, cleaning fish, you name it. These are real women. They really fish, and people need to take the time to find out if they're looking at somebody that's just a model. And I'm not going to mention the names, but everybody knows who they are. And some of them are extremely popular, so I'm not going to mention their names. But and I understand that they have a right to make a living as a model. But please don't represent yourself as an angler at the same time. Say what it is. I'm a model. I'm out here with these guys, and I'm going to hold the fish. Don't make it look like you're 75 pounds and you caught a 500-pound swordfish. That didn't happen. So
that is one of the things that we don't really. I mean, Pam is the only one that I have, if I'm correct, who is a female angler that comes on regularly. And talks and appears with us. I have
female anglers and kids are the future of this business. If this business is ever going to grow past where it is now, it's female anglers and kids that are going to make that happen.
Absolutely.
So, and we welcome female anglers at the magazine. But then again, understand if you're sending me pictures and you don't have a picture until 2 months ago of you catching a fish, you're not going in the magazine. So, but there again, there are some that do send them in. I had a lady send me about 70 pictures the other day, and she said, I just want to be in the magazine somewhere. Here's a bunch of pictures. So she sends me all these pictures, and I look in her profile, and she's been fishing since she was like 10 years old. So, yeah, I have no problem with that. But again, there are others that, they'll send you stuff and you look at their profile and they didn't, they never fished before in their life until 3 months ago when they went out with their boyfriend. So
you brought up something that I wasn't aware of. People can send you pictures and you'll consider putting those pictures in the magazine?
Absolutely. They send them to us all the time. There's a couple of ways they can get them in. One is pages@flfishmag.com, and the other is they can just send them to us on either Facebook or Instagram. But yes, they send pictures all the time, every day, a lot of them.
Wow.
And that's good. I mean, we're a magazine, we need the pictures. But and a lot of them, if they're really good, I'll contact them and go, okay, these are great pictures. Now give me a story to go with it. How long have you been fishing? Who got you started? Where do you fish? What do you fish for? What's your favorite thing to catch? But I need people to understand that this is the future of the business. Just make sure you're giving the future, to the right people.
Putting the acknowledgement out there that there are ladies out there who, if not more than, at least as much as a man enjoy fishing and will do, if not more than, at least as much as a fisherman would.
Right. And there are some that are probably misunderstood. Jackie Shea, for one, who does fish in a bikini almost all the time. I have fished with this woman. As a matter of fact, Rosemary and I both fished with her together, and she's a legitimate tough angler. She can fish with anybody. But it's just knowing who you're talking to.
Yeah. So can you tell us, this may be a silly question, but is there such a thing as a woman's tournament, just a female tournament?
There are some. Stacy Horak, Captain Stacy Horak, runs one out of Crystal River once a year. But we're going to actually try to help her organize some more. I've also got a female captain, Melanie House, down in Key Largo, and we're going to try to organize some more. Female captains are great. Just in case nobody's ever gone out with them, they're great. They're very diligent with their work. There are two that are going to be featured in the next issue of the magazine. It's they call themselves the Gale Force Twins. For people who follow Fish Monster, they were the captains last summer for Fish Monster charters, Amanda and Emily Gale, who grew up fishing, and now are both licensed captains. So,
wow.
There's
I'm sorry, go ahead, Diane.
There's Lori Denton also out of the Clearwater area with Ladyfish Charters. She's also a teaching captain where she puts on seminars.
Yep. Well, if you know how to get in touch with her, tell her to get in touch with us, and we would love to help promote that and her seminars and anything else. Also, we have some seminars coming up, which we will get in the magazine here soon for Tackle Boxes, Not Xboxes, which are the kids programs.
That's one of my passions, of the kids. I mean, I think I've told you before, I used to be a foster parent for the state of Florida. when I was married, we were foster parents for 8 or 9 years, adopted 7 children through the program.
Wow.
So kids are one of my passions. That's our future. So when you start talking about kids, you're yanking on my heartstrings. And growing up for me, fishing was probably, and I'm laughing because I was one of those kids who would just figure out how to get in trouble. It doesn't matter if you just go out and play, Riscala, and I would find a way to get in trouble. When we went fishing, it was
that's one of the reasons. Yeah, that's one of the reasons we help promote women so much. Take Sky Burkhart, for example, Inshore Adventures with Sky. She's out of the area up by Cocoa Beach, but Sky's out with her kids all the time. A lot of these, she's not a single mom, but there's a lot of single moms out there. Getting your kids out fishing is a great way to bond with your kids. And, there's just, like I said, that is so much the future of this business, because the more females that are involved, which will get more kids involved, because there are unfortunately a lot of single moms out there these days, which is unfortunate. But, at the same time, like I said, Rosemary did what she needed to do. She had her kids out fishing almost every day.
Wow.
So,
well, Robert, it's that time where I'm up against a break. So before we go, real quickly, if you would, how do people find the Florida Fisherman Magazine?
We are at flfishmag.com, and if you need to get in touch with me, I am Robert at flfishmag.com.
Robert, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. We're up against the break.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer, and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Roger's Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Roger's Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830. Swing on by.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out. Fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg. It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is the Fish Florida Show. I am your host, Riscala, with a special co-host this morning, the one and only Pam Worth. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is great.
An honor and a privilege to have Pam with me because I've never met her personally until today. We've had many conversations on the phone, and she's always got something very interesting to share because of the perspective that she does. She's a top female angler, one of the top female anglers here in Florida that uses a kayak. Now, her kayak, she pulled up with a kayak this morning. It's smaller than it's smaller than I thought it was.
Hey, it's every inch of 13 feet.
and if you want an idea of what kind of a fisherwoman this person is, or the fisher person, however you want to say
Angler.
it, go to the Facebook page, and you'll see a picture of her there holding a sailfish, almost as big as the whole boat that she's in, the kayak that she's in. So as we were talking earlier this morning with Robert, and we had mentioned there are ladies out there who love to fish every bit as much, if not more than men. There are ladies out there who are willing to get dirty and smelly and stinky every bit as much as, if not more than men. And they should be acknowledged for who they are and what they are. And that's what we wanted to do this morning. And I acknowledge Pam for what she does. An amazing job, Pam.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So my next guest is Mike Lindell. Mike is now we've been talking about primarily saltwater fishing, but Mike is got a unique perspective in and of himself. He puts on a tournament called the King of the Glades tournament, and he's going to share a little bit about that with us this morning. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mr. Stevens.
How are you, my friend?
Good. I'm live up here at Clewiston for the 2018 King of the Glades Classic. We got the top 23 boats. They've launched at Safe Light. They're out there till 3 o'clock, and fishing's been really strong up here, so it's going to take a big bag of wind.
So with, we've had so much rain in the last several weeks. How has that affected you up there?
Not so much on Okeechobee. Okeechobee was starting to drop, so they just started releasing water today, which is going to upset some guys in the estuaries down south. But right now there was a late spawn up at the lake, so the big girls are still up shallow, and guys are going back with big spooks and popping frogs and these new worms called the Big Nasty from Bruiser Baits, and they're getting those big bags in a foot and a half of water.
Wow.
Pam, do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to ask you what, so basically, they're not really doing chatterbaits. It's topwater and worms.
There are some guys who are going up to the Horny Pond area and finding some inshore hydrilla lines and stuff that they are catching some nice fish. I know Ron Yentz had a 28-pound bag a couple weeks back on a chatterbait up north, but the majority of the big fish are coming off of casting big worms, Senkos, big topwater spooks. Popping frogs have been the number one bait up here for probably the last month in shallow. And like I fished a tournament a couple weeks ago. I went into an area that was real shallow, clean water though, nice bottom. I threw a big spook back by the sawgrass head and caught a 7.5 pounder and a 4 pounder on the same cast. 7 being the female, she had the eggs, and it just so happened that the buck was a 4-pound buck that was doing his thing next to her. But I ended up getting an 8.5 pounder and a couple other nice ones on a big spook in a foot and a half of water. It's real exciting to watch them.
Wow.
Come up and eat those baits.
Yeah, topwater is my love. When you said the spook, is there a particular color that you like to use up there?
Me personally, I'm I don't want to say I'm famous, but when I start winning tournaments or doing really well, everybody knows I throw one Zara spook. It's one they sell in the saltwater section over at Bass Pro, or you can get them online, but it's the double chartreuse. It's got a chartreuse line across the top and one on the belly. And it's got like a mirror clear side, and the older it gets and the uglier it gets, the bigger the fish it catches for some reason.
Well done.
But I do dress it up. I put a number 4 red eagle claw hook on the front, kind of acts like a stinger. I put a number 2 owner red in the middle and a number 2 white feather tail red on the back.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's how I dress those up. But fishing's been really strong. Yesterday at Loxahatchee, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge. That place went off yesterday. There was 4 bags from guys, because the King of the Glades Classic is a 5-location draw, and you fish it the next day. So they didn't know really where we were going to end up, and Lox was one of the locations. So there was 4 boats out there yesterday, and they all had over 30 pounds.
Wow.
And they were eating a swim jig, and a lot of guys caught them flipping crawdads up into the hydrilla on the sides, but the swim jig bite really went strong yesterday at Loxahatchee.
Okay, now the first time I went bass fishing, it was more towards Central Florida, and I knew nothing what to do, so I talked to a tackle shop, and I asked them, what are the best colors? And they said, well, honey, you can use any color you want, just so it's June bug. Now, do you have favorite colors that you like to use?
Well, I mean, I'm a ledge fisherman down at Holiday Park, so I wait for the rain to come and I wait for the current. I do throw the big spook down there and do really well throughout the year, but my favorite time of the year, and I use like I said, bruiserbaits.com. They came out with a worm called the Big Nasty. It's 14.5 inches long.
Wow.
There's a color called Magic Mike that I used, with a 1/2 ounce Gambler Wrecking Ball or a Texas rig with a rattling weight up front, and you just catch, just monster bags on it, just fishing the ledges at Holiday Park, wherever the canals meet together, and it goes from like 16 feet up to 7, or something like, bridge corners, stuff like that. Any kind of ledge, spillway, pump houses. I like throwing the big worms.
So, Mike, right now you have a tournament happening. I think you mentioned that earlier. The name of the tournament is King of the Glades. Is that correct?
Yes, it's King of the Glades. It's an open event. We had over almost 500 entries this year. Only the top 23 boats make it into the Classic, and it's the top 23 teams. 2018. They're out there right now, giving it their all. I'm expecting, and I'll text you later on it, but I'm expecting probably around 28 pounds to win.
Oh my goodness!
Is it a 1-day or a 2-day event?
No, it's a 1-day event.
Okay, what time are the boats basically coming in? Did you say 3 in case anybody wanted to watch that?
Yes, they're coming in 3 o'clock. There's actually a high school 2-day tournament trail that's going on up here. They're having their annual Classic, so I yielded the stage to them. So we're actually weighing in at the pavilion on the levee on the rim ditch side, right by the ramp. And anybody that wants to come out and see some big fish, there's going to be some big ones brought in. These are the best anglers in South Florida going head to head one more time for this, the season finale, and I'm excited about it. But speaking about Central Florida and June bug, Lake Placid, June, all those Kissimmee, I like fishing them in the summertime. I like fishing, like I said, I like fishing big worms down deep. But the last time I was up in Central Florida, I was fishing the Kissimmee chain. I was throwing the big spook. And I had a 9.6 and a bunch of other good ones for the BFL tournament. So, the spook works everywhere. That's my go-to favorite bait. But I'm not a one-trick pony. I catch them flipping and swim jigging and spinner bait and then all that stuff. But mile marker 41 on Alligator Alley is really strong right now. There's a good bite going out there, throwing the 16-inch snake and with the swim jig. Mm-hmm. But, so you got Loxahatchee, mile marker 41, and Okeechobee are the 3 top spots right now down south.
In this tournament that you have, you said there was a draw. So there are different places that the people fish. Do I understand that correct?
Well, yes. What it is we try to keep the location as tame as possible, secret as possible, so nobody's out there at honing in on one spot. Yeah. The guys like it because it's more fair. So if you get some guides or really big pros in it, they don't know where it's going to be. So it kind of neutralizes, the scenario as far as somebody feeling they don't have a chance. But, there was actually 2 Okeechobee locations: Scott Driver, Clewiston, Lake Trafford on the West Coast, Holiday Park, and there was one more, Loxahatchee. Those were the 5 in the hat, and Clewiston got drawn last night in the meeting.
And if somebody now, I understand this tournament is underway, so it's probably going to be over later today, correct?
Yes, sir.
So when is the next tournament that you're going to have?
Well, the King Series itself, you can go to kingseries.com. We'll have the full 2019 schedule up, but it kicks off in January. Actually, it kicks off up here in Clewiston in January. Usually it's the first or second Sunday of January. We have to determine we have to check the BFL schedules and stuff like that to make sure we don't fall on anybody, but it's usually the first or second January, Sunday in January up here in Clewiston. I also run a club trail. We're at mile marker 41. Matter of fact, next 2 weeks from now, we're at mile marker 41 on Alligator Alley. Bike's really good out there. We got the Roland Martins Marine Center tournament, which I fish. Is next Saturday. That's a big money tournament trail as well, and I get to fish that one, so I'm excited. Nice. I did really well in the first one.
I wish you well on that one.
I appreciate it, but it's great to live in South Florida. Even Central Florida, it's great. I like. I don't know if Pam's familiar with any of the catch and release lakes like Kenansville, Garcia, Jackson, up by Yeehaw Junction. I mean. She can get out there in her kayak and really lay the hammer down. Kenansville is probably one of my favorite poppin' frog lakes in the planet. Last time I was up there, I had about 37 pounds, 5 fish.
Very nice.
But, that's a catch and release lake. It's fun to just, pack your stuff. As a matter of fact, as soon as this series is over, I'm going to plan a trip up there, and it's just a fun getaway place. So,
holler at me.
It's great to... It's great to live in South Florida.
It is, but I'm glad to hear you talk about CPR because I'm a big proponent of that. So I'm happy to hear that.
Yes, no, there are some, everybody catches and releases, but there's the Kenansville, Stick Marsh, stuff like that. Though, they really did a really good job of cleaning those places up and making them catch and release. And there's been, I know Jim Vines, one of my friends who lives up by Kenansville. So far this year, he has 27 trophy catches.
Jeez.
So it definitely works.
Was the guy psychic or something? How did he get, gee whiz. My experience with freshwater has not been the greatest. My best freshwater experience was many, many years ago. I was working for Radio Shack, and believe it or not, a ranger came in that was one of the people who protected the areas out. It was called Shark Valley. I think it's still there, out off Tamiami Trail in Miami.
Yes.
And I sold him a CB radio and a stereo. This is how far back we went, an 8-track stereo system. And he took it home, and he came back a couple of days later and goes, man, I just can't figure out how to get this stuff installed. I said, come by Sunday, and we close early, and I'll help you do it. So I did. The short of the story is he invited me out to go fishing. I said, well, I've never really done very good freshwater fishing. And he said, well, come out. I promise you you'll have a good time. I went out. It was me and the guy that worked with me and my brother. And I have never seen a fishing experience like that. I'm not kidding you when I tell you we would throw rubber worms, just cheap rubber worms. Before that worm hit the water, that fish was coming out of the water. Now, mind you, this is an area where nobody fishes. It's loaded with fish, but you're not allowed to fish there. It's a preserve. And the only people who are allowed to catch fish are the rangers. And they're only allowed to catch 1 fish per week. This is how back then. I don't know if it's still like it is now. But that was the greatest freshwater fishing experience I'd ever seen and ever had in my life. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. We would throw those just a rubber worm with no weight or anything, just a worm and the weight of the hook, and throw it out there. And before that thing was before it hit the water, these fish would be coming out of the water. Reminded me of the days when we would go sail fishing, and the sailfish would jump out of the water. You'd be pulling the bait, and you could see them following the bait, and all of a sudden they go down deep and come up out of the water. It was amazing. So if I could have that every time, I'd go freshwater fishing.
Yeah, actually, real quick before I got to go, Pam actually has an advantage. There's a new STA area. I'm not sure if she's familiar with it, but if you go up 27 just past the Holy Lands, just north of the Holy Lands on the east side, they just opened up a new reservoir out there, ST area, that you're only allowed to have electric motors, not gas, and they are catching absolutely giants out there in kayaks and john boats. I mean, just giant bass.
Excellent. Wow. Well, thanks for letting me know that, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Giant, and it's a getaway place. Not many people know about it. It's real quiet out there, but the fish have been back there for years, just growing big and big. One of my buddies went out a couple weeks ago, got 2 over 10. So,
holy smokes!
Well, Mike, it's that time. We're up against the proverbial breaks that we have to take. So before we go, one more time, if people want to know more about the King of the Glades tournament, what do they do?
They can go to KOTGseries.com, or they can friendship me on Facebook, Mike Lendl, Lendl. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Bottom Line Mike on Instagram. KOTGseries.com. That's all they have to do. They could. We'll have the new schedule for next year up soon.
Excellent. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to call in. Mike Lendl with King of the Glades Tournaments. Ladies and gentlemen, we are up against that special time. It is a break. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip. You can find your tide reports, buoy reports, get a fishing license, and even find someone to go fishing with. Plus great products and services from all our media partners. And oh yeah, you can get the Fish Florida Show on the app. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the WDBF radio networks. So download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip and tune in.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit
ignition. And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die. It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Say a prayer for peace.
I'm Trace Adkins. I want to tell you about these true American heroes and how you can show your thanks by helping them through Wounded Warrior Project.
They've reached out to us as a family, and they never forgot about us.
The job of helping thousands of our wounded warriors rebuild their lives is massive and growing every day. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Many of these service members suffer traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
They helped me basically put my life back together.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I would be a statistic right now. I would have been one of those soldiers who came home and committed suicide.
I'm in the fields of Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan.
Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. Call or go online with a pledge and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket. Make that call now.
Say a prayer for peace.
WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
WDBFradio.com.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. Stop fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Fish Florida Show. It is an honor and a privilege to have with me this morning one of the top female kayak anglers in Florida, Pam Worth. Good morning, Pam, and welcome to the Fish Florida Show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
What a lot of fun it is to have her alongside of me, and she has such a unique perspective when it comes to fishing because she's literally at the water's level, and she sees things that a lot of people don't see, and some of the experiences that she shared with me are really quite amazing, really is quite amazing. I can't imagine being in a boat, a kayak, and catching something almost as big as as the boat that you're in. Many years ago when I had I had a 24-foot Wellcraft, and I was married at the time, and I took my wife out fishing, and we were probably maybe 10 or 15 miles offshore. And she spotted, way off in the distance, she spotted a shark. And I said, no, it's not a shark. Those are two dolphins swimming in unison with each other. And so we argued about it maybe for a couple of seconds. And I said, okay, I'm going to prove it to you. We pulled up the bait and we ran over to where this thing was. Son of a gun, my boat was 24 foot long. This shark was a hammerhead shark. He was at least 3/4 the length of the boat. He was so big that he wasn't even intimidated as we pulled up alongside of him. We were literally 3 or 4 feet away from the shark as he was swimming on the top of the water. And she said, I will never go out with you again. And she never did. So it may have been a blessing.
I was going to say mixed blessings.
Well, anyway, our next guest is one of the either the father or the son. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but they are with Dockside Services, and what they do, I'm going to let them tell you that. Good morning.
Good morning, Riscala. How are you?
All right. Is it Andy or is it Kyle?
This is Kyle today.
Kyle. Good morning, Kyle. I see, my producer telling me you're calling in from a different number, so we weren't sure who it was.
Yeah. The other phone, we're actually out working today.
Okay. So do you have? While I'm thinking about it, do you have more than one number that people can reach you at?
No, we just have one number. I'm calling you from my personal phone this morning.
Okay. All right. Just in case you had another number, we can get it out there to the listeners. So tell us a little bit about what Dockside does.
So we're a mobile fuel delivery service, and we work from Key Largo to Key West, and we deliver Rec 90 and diesel to fishermen and divers coming down here. And if you have a vacation home down here, we can provide fuel for your boat. And we got 200 feet of hose, so we got to be able to get our truck within about 200 feet of the boat. and all we ask for is about 24 hours notice. But some weekends, it just depends. Like this weekend, there's a fishing tournament going on. So getting to everybody is a little bit more difficult than usual.
What tournament's going on down there?
There's the Skippers Dockside Tournament, which is formerly the Coconut Tournament. It's been the Skippers Tournament for about 5 years, I think.
Wow.
But, yeah, we're fielding quite a few boats for that. I think they have about 110 boats entered as of the last time I checked.
My goodness.
It's a pretty big tournament.
Wow. Well, I enjoy having you on because not only because of the service that you provide, but you usually give us a pretty good fishing report since you're down in the Keys area and you speak to so many people who while you're there fueling their boat. Give me an idea what's going on down there regarding the fishing.
Well, as I'm sure you know, in the past 2 weeks have been pretty terrible for weather. We've had, storming and just incredible winds. So really, this is the first weekend in about 2 weeks that anybody has gone out from what we've heard.
Mm-hmm.
We got some reports back from several boats in the tournament, and I'm not so sure it'll help anybody out there fishing, but they were all pretty in close, about 150 feet to, 250 feet, but they were all catching schoolies. On the boats we fueled, nobody seemed to catch anything sizable.
Wow.
Which is...
So
I don't have the answer to what people are catching, because nobody's really catching right now. I guess the largest in the tournament right now, I think, is about 30 pounds. And so today's also on it.
Are you seeing the fishing action is dropping?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm just saying, I can only speak from the experience of the customers we have. We don't see everybody across the entire Florida Keys.
Yeah.
We just have experience with our own customers. But I wouldn't say it's dropping, no.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I was in Pompano this weekend and the water was really turned up and dirty because of the storms and fishing was really tough. Do you think that's some of the reasons that's happening out by you?
That very well could be. I haven't asked anybody on the water clarity, to be totally honest with you. That hadn't even really crossed my mind. But what we have heard in the past is that people are catching mostly ones and twos, and they're not really getting into these big schools of dolphins that are out there.
Now,
the people that get into ones and twos, they are catching decent-sized dolphins.
The last couple of weeks, we've been having reports that there are dolphin out there. If you can get out there, that was the precursor. Yeah, you can catch them if you can get out there and stay out there long enough.
Yeah, well, the past 2 weeks, if you can get out there, you're going to be the only boat out there. There's nobody else is going.
You got it all yourself.
That was wiser. You could have all the fish you wanted if you could find them.
So are there any other tournaments going on down there, Kyle, that we're not aware of?
This is the only one going on right now that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly on the fishing area because I know that there's some people from the lower Keys that are also fishing in this tournament, and I don't know that if it extends up to Miami or not. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Mm-hmm. What is the name of it again?
It's the Skippers Tournament.
Skippers Tournament. So if anybody's in
Key Largo.
Do you know how is it going to be finished this weekend, or is it going to be going on for a while?
Yeah, I believe it finishes either today or tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not too sure on that, but
all right.
Yeah, we'll see. But as of yesterday, we heard the biggest fish was about 30 pounds.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, we talked to one of our customers yesterday, and he was saying, we shut off the fuel him after the first day. And he said, I got some good news and I got some bad news. And I said, all right, give me the good news. I guess you're allowed to put the lines in the water at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so he said, we caught our first fish at 8:08.
Wow.
He said, the bad news is that was our only fish of the day.
Oh, jeez.
And it was only about 5 pounds.
Oh, geez.
I can remember days like that where it looks like you're just going to have a phenomenal fishing day, and you go out there and you catch one or two, and you go, oh, my goodness, what happened? It's like the tide turned against us as soon as we went out there. That is kind of disappointing when you go experience something like that. But that's all part of fishing. That's what makes it so exciting.
It's fishing, not catching.
That's right.
Part of the game. Yeah, I felt bad for the guy. He had seven guys on his boat and caught a 5 pound 5 pound line. So.
Oh my goodness.
It was a rough day.
I know that, get back to Dockside Services, one of the things that you did not mention, I want to make sure that the listeners understand. You have a minimum of 50 gallons, I believe, and the pricing on the fuel is very competitive.
Yep, that is correct. We have a 50-gallon minimum on gas and diesel. And we're priced in between the marinas and your standard street gas station. We try to make it very competitive. And we make fueling very easy. I'd say probably 75% of our customers, after we meet them for the first time, they're not even there when you fuel them.
Now, I mean, that's the way to go. You know that you have somebody that you can rely on, that you can trust, that when you call them or that you text them, I guess you can even text you, right? And let you know that it's time to fuel the boat there, Kyle or Andy. And you know it's done. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to mess with the boat. You just come back, your boat's ready to go. That's probably one of the easiest and most convenient things for someone who has a vessel. The other thing I wanted to point out is, let's say you have a 50-gallon minimum, but you don't have a 50-gallon tank in your boat. Well, how about you and your neighbor? Could both get together between the two of you if you take 25 gallons apiece, or one takes 20 and one takes 30, however you want to do it. As long as you get up to 50, they're willing to do that for you as well.
Yep, that's correct. We do that often. We had 4 or 5 of those yesterday, and that's pretty common. We discount 5 cents a gallon at 150 gallons or more, and we discount for cash and check also. So we prefer to save our customers some money than pay our credit card company some money.
It's a pretty straightforward thing. You can give them a call. Dockside Service. Kyle, before I forget, phone number, please.
Phone number is 305-923-6509. And you can call or text.
If they're on the web and they want to find you on the web?
The best place to find us is on Facebook. You can just search Dockside Fuel, and we're the only company in Key Largo shop to pop up there.
Excellent. Well, Kyle, I want to thank you. How's Dad doing, by the way?
He's pretty good. He's out there working today.
Somebody's got to do it.
Living away on a Sunday.
So the old man's working while the kid's on the radio.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Well, that's one of the things I enjoy about Dockside Fuel Services. One of my passions is to support small businesses, locally owned, family-owned small business. And that's what you're going to be dealing with when you're dealing with someone like Dockside Services. Locally owned, family-owned. You are their boss, basically, because it will treat you much better than if you went to a marina or someone who just sees you as a number. They see you as an individual and someone that supports the business. So you'll get a much better experience with them. In my opinion, you'll get a much better experience with them than you would having to go through all the issues of going to a marina too. I mean, if you take your boat or your vessel and it's docked at your home, and you've got to take it to the marina, wherever the marina is. So you're going to use up all that fuel, how much fuel that's going to be, to get it to the marina. Then you're going to get to the marina and fuel it back up. And then you're going to take it back home so you can wait for the next morning or whatever it is that you're going to go fishing in. You have somebody like Dockside Fuel that just come over, fuel it for you. When you're ready to go, you just get in the boat and go, or get in your vessel and go. I think it's a great idea, and I'm honored and privileged to help support you guys, because I really think what you do is saves a lot of people a lot of trouble. One of the things I go back to is peace of mind. I have Carolyn Stash with Atlas Tracks on repeatedly. Why? Because it's a peace of mind kind of thing. You put this thing on your boat, or you put this thing on your vessel, or whatever that you have, and you can track wherever it's at. You can get to within 3 or 4 feet of wherever it's at. You get somebody like Dockside Service, you make a phone call. Next thing you know, your vessel is full. All you have to do is get in, turn the key on, and go. You can't make it any easier than that. To me, that's peace of mind. I don't have to worry about going to the marina. I don't have to worry about paying marina prices. I just call them up, and everything is taken care of. So I appreciate that. Any parting words before you go there, my friend?
No, absolutely. We're all about convenience, and we know, especially on fishing days, there's already enough to remember as it is. Fuel should be one of them. So we try to make it as easy as we can.
Well, Kyle, thank you again for taking the time to call in. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Kyle Sikora with Dockside Services. You can reach them at phone number?
305-923-6509. Thanks again for having me on this morning, Mr. Ella.
It's an honor and a privilege, my friend. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. It is that time. We are up against the top of the hour, which we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg. With 24 years in law enforcement, Sergeant Frank Danish embodies community outreach. He has helped hundreds of young people become civic-minded adults through a 17-year leadership development program in the city of Boynton Beach, Florida. This program also has produced police officers with strong moral character. Also, the founder of Adopt a Cop USA, Sergeant Frank Danish, is committed to his members' education and criminal awareness in the community.
So tune in every Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern, right after Bucks on the Bookshelf, for the Sergeant Frank Show here on the WDBF Radio Networks.
And you're listening to WDBFradio.com.
Alright, grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. It calls me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
All right, it is the top of the hour, 9 o'clock here in South Florida, and it is going to be a beautiful day. We are looking already, it is humid, it is hot. It's what we are here in Florida that's all about. And if you go outside and you just spend a few minutes, I just took my dog out real quick, they're already starting to sweat. So it's just, we are back into the cycles of summer, if you will, and looking forward to enjoying the day today. I'm going to be taking one of my grandkids out, and we're going to do a little bit of fishing. We're going to use some of the Crappy Psychics trailers and see how they do, and I'll report to you next week how we did with all that. In the meantime, I have asked Jeff Goldberg to give us a call. Jeff is with Fish307.com, along with another company that he has, and Jeff sent me a very interesting picture, which we're going to discuss very briefly here in a moment. Good morning, Jeff, and welcome to the Fish Florida Show, my friend.
Good morning, and thank you.
Oh, it's an honor and privilege, and I don't know if you've been listening, but I have the one and only Pam Worth with me. Good morning, Miss Pam, as well. She's kind of substituting as a co-host this morning, and what an honor and privilege to have her here with us. So tell us a little bit about what's going on, especially with the picture that you sent me. I found that rather interesting.
All right, so that picture I sent to you right after I got it from Christine, who works at our Jacksonville Repair Center. And that was a trolling motor from one of the charters that we take care of. And it's a brand new motor. I don't think it was on the boat more than an hour. And a shark attacked the motor, and you can see the the bite marks in the back of that 112-pound thrust Minn Kota Riptide motor. It was pretty interesting. I've seen that before, though. Over the years, I had a downrigger sent to me from Hawaii that the boom, a big stainless steel boom, was bit right in half by a shark.
Oh, you're kidding.
So,
wow.
No.
Powerful.
Kind of interesting. So sharks, they're aggressive. They can be aggressive animals, and they do their damage. So good thing it wasn't a person and it was just the equipment, but it does happen.
Did they give you any indication whether the motor was running, or was it just sitting in the water and this thing came up and nabbed it?
I really don't know. All I did was I spoke to you, and I got that picture and I sent it on, and I didn't really ask any questions except for what I was told, and that was it. It was just all of a sudden there it was. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. I haven't seen a trolling motor hit before. I've seen downriggers hit. Trolling motors I haven't seen hit, but that one got hit hard. And that shark, I'm sure, has a few less teeth.
I've seen videos, like on YouTube and things like that, where the sharks are up there gnawing on basically just the engines or the trolling motors. Do you think it's a certain frequency or something? Or they're just curious?
Yeah. I could be just curious, but that particular motor, that got hit. That wasn't gnawed on. If you look at the scratches on that shark wanted to eat that thing. So
you're kidding.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It was a pretty aggressive hit. It was a pretty fascinating picture. I'm going to we'll post it up on our Fish 307 Jacks Facebook page, and we'll put it on a regular Fish 307 Facebook page as well. But it was just an interesting picture from one of our customers, which I thought was pretty neat. So
I found it rather amazing that it looks like they didn't bite just once. It looks like they went back and hit it a couple of times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That motor got hit. That wasn't a gnaw or a check out. That was like I'm going to take this thing out.
Now, can you fix that casing, or are you going to have to put a whole new casing on it?
Well, the casing is just scratched, and it really wouldn't be a warranty issue just because there was no factory defect there. You can paint it, or we could replace it. That's a good question. Personally, what I would do with it is I would just paint it and let it go. And if it starts to rust, it's on the outside. It doesn't matter that much. It's all cosmetic. Mm-hmm. But if it was an issue, then we would replace it. It's not a big deal.
And just to be clear, one of the things that Jeff does is he works on trolling motors. That's one of the things that he provides, along with Fish 307, if I'm not mistaken, provides the fishing hardware. Is that correct?
Yeah, Fish 307, we're parts for trolling motors, Minn Kota, Motor Guide, and all different brands of downriggers. We're Great Lakes oriented tackle. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of saltwater tackle as well. And we ship out of our warehouse in New York, and we have a warehouse in Florida and one in New Jersey. So,
has it warmed up enough now where people are fishing on the weekends there?
Well, so it's going to be 80 degrees here today and humid, and it feels just like Florida.
I guess that warmed up, huh?
Yeah, so it warmed up. It's going to be actually a beautiful day. Yesterday was an absolutely beautiful day as well. So the fishing's been fantastic up here. We've actually been selling quite a bit of the crappie sight stuff up here for the guys fishing for, crappies and bass and perch and what have you. And the lake trout and salmon fishing has been outstanding. We're catching a lot of really, really nice fish. It's been so far the fishing's been great when the weather is good.
Do you know if they are having better success with live bait or dead bait versus a lure?
Okay, so that's a good question. Mostly up north here, we don't fish with dead bait, mostly live bait. When we're fishing with bait, other than tournament anglers, the bass fishermen, they like to use live bait. We sell suckers, which the guys like to troll with for lake trout, and the bass actually take them also. And then most of trolling is done with lures or streamer flies. So it's a little bit different, and a dodger. So you take a dodger and put a streamer fly behind it, and you troll it down. Right now, the lake trout are down about 80 feet, 80, 90 feet on the bottom, and fishing's been great. Seen a whole bunch over 10 pounds, which is a good fish.
Wow.
30 inches.
Wow.
Is there a particular color that is attracting them that you're going to put on those teasers?
Well, that's a good question, too, because every body of water is different, as you know. Mm-hmm. Lake George, where we are, orange, like a burnt orange color, seems to, for whatever reason, in all my 27 years of having the shop here, there's a burnt orange color that is the color for Lake George. Now, if you get up on the Lake Champlain this year, which is just a little bit, it's very close by, purple has been very, very popular this year. And on Lake Ontario this year, it seems to be the blue colors have been real popular. So blue and chrome. So
Jeff,
go ahead.
Are you finding that the darker the water, the darker the lure, the more success, or the darker the water, the lighter the lure?
No, what we find is the darker the water, the brighter the lure, and the more clear the water, the more natural color. So most of the Adirondacks water is very clear, and in the mountains here, and actually most of New York State, the water is very clear, and so natural colors are more prominent. In this more stained water, is the brighter colors is what seems to do better.
Wow. And do you have any of these available through your website?
They're all on the website. There's, I think, 60,000 different items on the website.
So just a couple of items that you can choose from there on.
Yeah, just a few. We have what we do. We have all kinds of trolling stuff. We have bass stuff. We've got crappie stuff. We've got rods, reels, and then obviously our really big thing is parts, repair parts for trolling motors and downriggers. So it's a unique niche.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's a unique niche in the market. There's not a lot of places to buy parts, so we're it. So,
in your opinion, what is the most common issue that causes people to have problems with the trolling motors?
Most common issue with problems with trolling motors is every few trips you should take your propeller off and make sure that any line, weeds, and anything like that are out from behind your prop. So what happens is if you get fishing line caught behind your prop, sometimes you don't even know it. It gets into the seals, and it'll make the motor draw more amperage because it tightens on, and it'll make an incursion into the seals, which allows water to get in, which is a big issue. The next biggest issue, actually equally as big issue, is when you ding your prop on your big engine, you get a vibration and you get all wigged out right away, and you say, oh, got to change that or have that prop fixed because you don't want to have seal leakage. Well, the same thing takes place on a trolling motor. Okay, you just don't feel it. You get a prop, they come with like a little curl at the end and a little curl on them, and they're out of balance, so your motor isn't working to its full efficiency, and you're going to ruin your seals, and you're going to wind up with water incursion from that for exactly the same reasons on your big motor. So if you ding your trolling motor, the plastic prop on your trolling motor, fix it. Get another one. It's really a big thing.
It's got to be less expensive to replace the prop than to replace the motor.
You're looking anywhere from $17 to $30 for a prop. To rebuild the whole bottom end of a motor is going to cost you a minimum of $100.
Wow.
And the time that you're not going to have it, because there's lots of authorized service centers out there, and which is a good thing. But it's going to take them an hour's worth of time when they get you into their mix. So they might have 50 motors sitting there, and so they have all of those motors, so you're number 51. So they have, so if you think about that, that's at least a week's worth of work or more, or could be 2 weeks worth of work that you're going to be down because you didn't change your prop.
Do something as simple as remove the prop, put a new prop on, or remove the prop and check for line or weeds or something behind that. And I'm sure it doesn't take long. It's not, 5 minutes to take the prop off? Probably not even 5 minutes.
Not even 5 minutes. No.
Proper maintenance.
It's one. Yeah, it's just maintenance. That's all it is. You spin the, in the salt water where you guys are, there's a, zinc that's screwed on to, in order to be the spot. So you just take that off. And what I always do is I spin that off and I take the back of my ratchet and just tap the prop a little bit, and then it slides off. And then you have a shear pin in there. You usually leave the shear pin on because most likely you bent it. And so it'll still, the prop will still go on, but there's all that old line and weeds and crap and stuff behind there. Just take that out. You take my pocket knife, I cut that, take it out, slide the prop back on, put my zinc back on, I'm good to go.
Hot dog. So, well, if people want more information about what you provide, Jeff, how do they do that?
You go to the website, fish307.com. And we come up pretty much everywhere. In Northern Florida, we have, on Facebook, we have Fish 307 Jacks, which is Jacksonville, actually Atlantic Beach. And we have a pretty good repair facility there. And we ship worldwide. We ship into Florida every day. And that's the deal. So been at it 20, have a little bit of experience with this stuff.
Yeah, you faded out a little bit. You've been at it for how long?
27 years.
Oh, so you're just a newcomer to this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly it.
Well, I know that with someone with that kind of experience can surely help people who are having issues with, particularly with what we've been talking about, like the trolling motors and stuff like that.
Right. So we have our tech. If they dial 1-800-FISH-307 or 347-4307 during the week from 9 till around 2:30 in the afternoon, I have a gentleman on staff. He answers phone calls all day long.
Oh, great! So they can get a little technical support.
Technical stuff. Right, technical support, and then, usually they sell them some parts or whatever it is that they need. But yeah, so we provide that service as well, which is better than waiting on hold at one of the factories for an hour.
Yeah.
Our hold time is generally, a couple of minutes, if at all.
I'm going to be posting the picture of that trolling motor that the shark tried to use for lunch. So those of you who want to see it, you will find a copy of that picture on the Facebook page under the Fish Florida Show. You go to Facebook and find the Fish Florida Show, and you'll see a copy of it. Anyway, it's that time again, Jeff. We're up against that magic thing that we call a break. One last thing before you go and give you an opportunity? People want to reach you or people want to find you on the web?
Okay, so it's www.fish307.com or 1-800-FISH307. And thank you so much for having me on today. I appreciate all you do.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, Jeff. You always have we don't talk a lot about, today we have, but typically we don't talk a lot about freshwater and some of the associated things that happen with freshwater. And when you come on, you always got a unique point of pointing out to people, like we talked about earlier, the most common problems that we have with fishing trolling motors. And I'm sure there are people out there who have heard that and said, I never thought about that. Pull the prop off and check. Something very simple and very straightforward, but a lot of people don't do that. And from what you have told me, people have sent you their motors that are not working properly, and you found that the only problem was lying around the shaft down at the bottom.
A very funny story. I was out on my motorcycle one day. I was up in Atlantic Beach, and I saw a guy with a motor, and I said, "Hey, how's your motor working?" He was at the gas station getting gas, and he goes, "Well, it's not working so good." I said, "I know what the problem is." So in my motorcycle setup there, I took his nut off, pulled the prop off, took off the whole wad of line, put it back together, and sent him on his way.
Hot dog.
Yeah.
Good Samaritan.
I saw a piece of line. I saw a piece of line hanging out from behind his prop. That's why I asked him. Interesting.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for taking. Thanks so much for taking the time to call in. We've got a little bit of a delay. I apologize if I'm speaking over you. I think that you're not speaking, but you actually are, and that little delay is kind of kicking in here. We're up against that magic time, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, thank you. Appreciate it. Wish you a great weekend. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip. You can find your tide reports, buoy reports, get a fishing license, and even find someone to go fishing with. Plus great products and services from all our media partners. And oh yeah, you can get the Fish Florida Show on the app. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the WDBF radio networks. So download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip and tune in.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit
ignition. And then
nothing. Ha 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 ha. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die.
It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Say a prayer for peace.
I'm Trace Adkins. I want to tell you about these true American heroes and how you can show your thanks by helping them through Wounded Warrior Project.
They've reached out to us as a family, and they never forgot about us.
The job of helping thousands of our wounded warriors rebuild their lives is massive and growing every day. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Many of these service members suffer traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
They helped me basically put my life back together.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I would be a statistic right now. I would have been one of those soldiers who came home and committed suicide.
I'm in the fields of Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan.
Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. Call or go online with a pledge and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket. Make that call now.
Say a prayer for peace.
WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
WDBFradio.com.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. Stop fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful morning here in South Florida. Welcome to the Fish Florida Show. If you're just tuning in, I have a very special co-host with me this morning, Pam Worth. Pam is well known in her league as one of the top female kayak anglers in all of Florida, and she brings to the table a unique perspective for someone who is fishing literally at the water's level. Good morning, Pam, and thank you.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. I have so much fun here.
We this morning we were talking about with Robert Warner from Florida Fisherman Magazine about female anglers, not the models that hold a fish, but the real female anglers who go out there and get stinky and smelly and not afraid to get their hands dirty. And I can tell you that Pam is one of them because I have seen some of the pictures that she has, and very unique. If you want to see something that's very impressive, go to the Facebook page, Fish Florida Show, and you'll see a picture of her holding a fish almost as big as the very boat that she's sitting in. So when I tell you that she brings a unique perspective to the table, I'm not kidding. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the tournament that you were in.
I was in yesterday. We had the Extreme Kayak Tournament off Pompano Beach, put on by Maria and Joe Hector. It was a great tournament. The day was beautiful. The water was flat, a little murky, but all in all, it was a great time.
And approximately how many people were involved in that?
There was about 120 entries.
Wow. And kayaks? All
kayaks, yeah.
Lord, I'd like to see it. Had anybody get an aerial picture of that?
You know what? If you want to go see some photos, I've got a couple up on my Instagram, but also go to Extreme Kayak Fishing. I know Joe and Maria have posted a lot of the photos from the event.
I can't, can you imagine how many? 100?
120.
120 kayaks. And when you guys go out, do you all go out at the same time?
Yes, we all launch basically from the beach, and unlike boats, the kayaks have unusual colors. We're bright colors.
Yeah.
So it almost looks, from a girl perspective, it almost looks like Easter eggs on the beach.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
You know, and the unique rigging, everybody's a little bit different. There's so many different types of kayaks out there that it's really a sight.
And the kind of kayak that you have, is it considered an average size or a small size, a large size? And I take it there's different sizes, right? When in this tournament, there were people with small, medium, and large.
Right. And some of them have pedal drives. Some of them, like Hobie, have the Mirage drives, and some people were paddling. So
what is a Mirage drive?
Hobie has a unique system called a Mirage drive, which has almost like fins, and you don't pedal it, you push it. It's kind of like a Stairmaster, and it moves the kayak that way.
Wow. See, again, you know, if you've ever listened to me before, you'll know that I say this regularly. One of the things I enjoy about doing this show is I don't know everything, and I'm constantly learning. I just learned something. I didn't even know that was available. That's amazing.
Yep. There's a lot of brands that do have pedaler kayaks now, and for tournaments, in my opinion, they're great because they leave you hands free.
And this may be a silly question, but do they have kayaks with like electric motors or gasoline motors on the back as well?
Yes. You can turn around and get trolling motors. Some of the kayaks have special mounts designed especially for trolling motors.
The tournament that you were in, do they limit people? In other words, it has to be naturally propelled. It can't be propelled artificially.
That's correct. It's got to be either your legs, the wind, or your arms propelling it. You can't, unless you're disabled, and you cannot use any type of motor out there.
So when you were doing the fishing, approximately how far offshore were you?
I got out to 400, almost 500 feet out there. 450, almost 500 feet. So 3-4 miles out yesterday.
Wow. Pedaling 3 or 4 miles. That's impressive, my dear. Very impressive.
That's where I got my tuna.
And so some of the fish that were caught. Let's talk about some of the fish that were caught.
One of that I consider one of the most unique is we got an African pompano. Brian Whelan ended up with almost a 40-pound African pompano.
Wow.
I think that's a record in a kayak out there. Wow. And my hat's off to him. That must have been an amazing fight to bring in. I mean, I had like a almost 20-pound tuna. And I remember trying to gaff it yesterday, and I missed it 3 times. So I'm thinking the guys from Wicked Tuna would be just screaming at me. And finally, I always wear gloves to protect my hands. Yeah. And I happen to have the fish monkey gloves on. And I finally just reached out and grabbed its tail, took 2 arms, both my hands, and hauled it into the kayak.
So one of the things that I think about is, what if you hook a fish? I mean, it's a really big fish. I've seen some of these videos with people in kayaks, and they hook these Goliath groupers. You ever worry about flipping over?
Yeah, that's a real opportunity. One of my best friends, Mike, flipped yesterday. There was a kayaker fishing all by himself, and thank goodness our tournament was this weekend. He developed a crack in his hull, and we don't need to talk about what kind of boat it was, but he developed a crack in his hull, and his boat was sinking. And our help boats, motorized help boats, Joe Hector's boat out there, came by and basically hauled him aboard and towed his kayak back to the beach.
So let me go back to the sizes of kayaks in this tournament that you were in. What is the smallest kayak?
I think the smallest one that I saw was an ocean kayak, and it looked to be maybe 10 or 11 feet.
So that's not very big.
No.
And then the biggest kayak. What is the biggest kayak?
I'd say the top of the line biggest kayak would be Hobie's. Mm-hmm. And I don't ride a Hobie, and I don't have all the statistics, and I'm embarrassed to tell you that. But I would say it's for an ocean goer, I'd say maybe 14, 15 feet.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say, somewhere around 15 feet.
Yeah, I know Native has a brand new boat out called the Titan that I have not taken offshore yet. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be an awesome boat. I can't wait to see how that handles the waves.
So while we're talking about name brands, I know that you have some sponsors, right? You have sponsors that help you. And let's mention the sponsors, since they've been so kind to help you and you've been so kind to help me. Let's mention the sponsors that you have.
Well, I started off, my boat is made by Native Watercraft, and it's a Propel. It's about 13 feet long. Yak Attack, it fully rigs that boat. It's beautiful work. They're rod holders, everything. They're designed for kayaks. My reel that I caught that big tuna on was a Daiwa Saltiste 5000, and my rod was by Cajun. I happened to have a jig on, and I was jigging. Cajun rods are made out of Jacksonville, so it's a U.S. company out of Jacksonville, by a retired veteran.
Sweet. Now you're taking up my
exactly with an engineer license. His background is engineering, and my Tampa Fishing Outfitters is a great supporter, and Fish Monkey gloves. Those things are awesome.
Well, we thank all of your sponsors for helping you in this endeavor, and I thank you for coming in and joining me this morning, because it is a special opportunity to have you here, see you face to face, and be able to share information back and forth. It really is a special opportunity, and I am grateful that you did that this morning. She drove all the way here, probably a 45-minute drive from where you were?
Yeah, I was in Pompano.
Yeah, so she's a good hour drive from where she was to come here and share with me this morning and spend some time with me this morning and be my special co-host. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that.
My pleasure, sir.
So let's talk a little bit about the next tournament now. What is the next tournament coming up?
The next offshore tournament that Joe has is going to be in August, and it's the second part of SummerSlam. He's got part 1 and 2. And basically, if you've seen the size of the Super Bowl rings, that's what's on the table. That's,
oh, my goodness.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's king. Or hopefully in my case, queen. I mean, I was the only woman on stage. I ended up in 6th place. So out of 120, I was really proud of that. But, so that's happening in August. I'll get some dates for you when we get a little closer.
Right. And it is kayak, just to be clear. It's
yeah,
kayak.
It's kayak.
And do you think there'll be as many in that one as there was in this last one?
It could be. I think the water quality is going to be a little bit better. This was tough coming off all that rain.
Yeah.
Because the Pompano Beach area, or where we launched from by the pier, is right next to the Hillsborough Inlet.
Oh.
So all that fresh, all that
fresh
fresh water was dumping into the ocean in that location.
Wow.
And I think it made fishing a little tougher.
Yeah. Yeah. So, are you headed back to the other side of the state now?
Yep. I live in the Tampa Bay area, and I'm headed back there. I had the opportunity, speaking of veterans, to fish the Heroes on the Water Memorial Weekend.
Wow.
And that was great. It's, you could use anything, but I tend to use a lot of artificial lures.
Well, when we talk about veterans, one of the things that I admire about Captain Hook, my producer, is he takes veterans fishing, Vietnam War veterans, as well as maybe even some of the World War veterans if they're capable. I'm not sure about that, but I know it's Vietnam veterans. And veterans are a special thing to me because I am a veteran. I'm somebody who served for the country, and I didn't do it to get recognized for that. I did it because I felt it was necessary at the time. And when we get back here, those of us who are veterans, we find ourselves facing multitude of issues, and none of which seem to come with assistance from the government. So it's people like Captain Hook, it's people like you who work with veterans, some of my other friends that work with veterans that help us. Veterans, this is something I really don't talk a lot about on this show. I don't mean to get political, and it's not intended to be political. These boys and girls are coming back, and I call them boys and girls because that's really what they are. These are young adults, and they're coming back from a horrific experience. They are committing suicide at the rate of 22 a day. It is up to people like you and me to reach out to them. They put their lives on the line, and they've come back, and our government has turned their back on them, basically. And it's people like Pam. It's people like Captain Hook. It's people like Sergeant Frank that work with veterans and reach out to them and let them know you still have value. You might not feel like you're valuable right now because of the experience that you've gone through and what you're seeing here as you come back, but you're still valuable to us. And I want this message to go out to you guys out there that are veterans. You're still valuable. You haven't lost your value, my friend. If you're having thoughts of suicide, there are 800 numbers that you can call. They are manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Suicide is not the answer. You can get all kinds of help. I didn't mean to go off on this tangent, but this is something that's really strong with me. I've lost several of my friends over the years because they felt that was the way out. That's not the way out. More people get hurt when you do that. You feel like you have no other options. Get some help. Get to some people who can talk to you and let you know so that you're not in the middle of this tornado of emotions. They're on the outside of that tornado and can look in and say to you, look, there's a calm in the center of the storm. We can help you reach that calm. So that's about all I'm going to say about that because this is something that's very, very touching to me and I get emotional about it. Anyway, let's go back to the kayak fishing because I think that's really a very unique thing. Have you ever been involved in a situation where you're out there and as we all know here in South Florida, the weather just decides to get really nasty with you?
Oh my goodness, yes. Thank goodness I haven't been out in the ocean in those conditions, but I've been in the flats. And the worst time was in Ozello. Ozello is between Homosassa and Crystal River on the west side. And a big storm, one of those summer storms came in that had tornadic winds.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. Headed into, up in that area has a lot of little mangrove islands. I got myself into a mangrove island as far in there as I could and held on.
Wow.
Took all the poles down, laid them down, cut all the lures off so they wouldn't be tangling, and just held on to the mangroves for probably about 20, 30 minutes.
That's got to be scary. It's just got to be very concerning. You're in a boat that's between 13 and 15 feet long, and you know, all Hades breaks loose out there. I've been out there. I was out there with my brother one day. This was in Isla Morada off of Alligator Rock Lighthouse, and we were just maybe several hundred yards from the lighthouse, and I saw this thunderhead moving in on us. I said, we got to be prepared to move. The next thing, as we were pulling up the anchor, the next thing that I heard was a crack. Never even, the crack and the thunder was immediate. Ooh. It hit that lighthouse, and it shook the boat. We were so close that the sound wave literally shook the boat. And I tell you what, I think if I could have walked on water that day, I've been walking on water. I'm telling you, we pulled up and we got the heck out of there so very quick. And it has happened to me several times where I've been out in the ocean. One time we were at least 20 miles out, and I think in either the north or the southbound shipping lane, and saw thunderhead coming up. Noticed it was, coming up our way, so we did what we could do to try to get around it, but eventually you have to come back in, and this thing was going back. This thing was headed east, and we needed to go west, so we ended up having to go through part of it, and it is kind of scary. It was the first time in my life that I had lost complete direction. It was raining so hard that if I didn't have a compass, I would not have known. North, south, east, we would not have any idea at all. Just pouring rain. And you talk about cats and dogs, it processed way past cats and dogs. It was mooses and cows coming down, and literally could not see but just a couple of feet in front of you. It's a scary feeling to be out there and experience something like that. I couldn't imagine being in a kayak and having experienced that.
The good things about kayaks are, unlike boats go through the waves. Yeah. The kayak goes over them. We're more like a float or a bobber. If you kind of think of that on the water. Yeah. And unless you get a lot of breakers, it's not as tough to go over the waves. It's the breakers. I never thought about it. Yeah. It's the breakers that make me nervous, especially when they're behind me. Yeah, yeah. Well, when they're coming in behind you, because if you get crooked, that's when you could roll.
Wow. Well, as always, a lot of information, and it is already that time again. My goodness. Okay. It's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't go away. It's the Fish Florida Show with my special co-host this morning, Pam Worth.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Facts form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg. It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is the last portion of our show. And if you've been listening this morning, we've talked about a wide variety of subjects, as we usually do. And one of the most common ones that's come up today, because of my special guest, Pam Worth, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Has been female anglers and the importance that they are in our industry. You know, if we didn't have moms, we wouldn't have kids, right? So I am honored and privileged to acknowledge female anglers, the real female anglers, as Robert from Florida Fisherman Magazine said, not the ones who just wear the bikinis and the models, but the ones who really get out there and do the fishing and not afraid to get their hands stinky and smelly and are willing to do everything that a guy is willing to do, if not more. So we acknowledge you, female anglers that are out there. We acknowledge that you are a very important part of our industry, and we thank you for doing what you do. And speaking of female anglers, I have a young lady who does that occasionally. Her specialty is making jewelry. The name of her company is Nautical Jewelry, and she's going to tell you a little bit about that when she comes on in a minute. But she is also someone I admire because she's if I'm not mistaken, either a marathon or a triathlon, one of the two, runner or someone who's involved in that. And I admire her because she runs miles. I'm lucky. I take a concrete block, I lay it in the backyard, and I run around the block. That's my block. That's my exercise right there. But this young lady runs miles at a time. So I want to welcome her. I want to acknowledge her. She is also a female angler. Good morning, Maria. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Riscala. How are you?
I'm doing good. Have you been fishing lately?
I have not been fishing, but I did when I did my run yesterday morning. I ran down to Matheson Hammock Park, and you should have seen the boats. Everyone put their boats in the water after all the rain we had. There was a lineup mostly almost out of the park.
Oh, my goodness. So tell us a little bit. Do you have any fishing reports you want to share with us before we get into nautical jewelry?
No, I really haven't been out fishing. I was actually in California doing a race out there. It was very beautiful. I spent some time on the water, but not fishing. Yeah. But it was very nice out there. Nice temperatures and everything. No rain.
How did you like being in California?
I loved it. It was beautiful. The first couple of days, I trained running with the hills and everything, which I wasn't used to. And by the time the race came, I just sailed through it. But I loved it. The people were nice. The weather was beautiful. And I actually did just about everything in 4 days, including Santa Monica Pier and everything. So it was very nice.
How long was this particular race?
It was only a half marathon, 13 miles.
Only 13 miles. I'm lucky if I can run 13 feet.
I know. So I usually run the 26 miles and sometimes the ultras, but this one I did 13.1 miles. So it was a lot of fun. Fun people. Wow. It was for a good cause. It was for the Marine Corps veterans and post-traumatic syndrome veterans suffering from that. So it's money to raising money for those causes.
Excellent.
Thank you, Maria. I genuinely mean that from my heart. Thank you for helping my brothers that have come back, and they are in desperate need of help. And people like you who reach out, and people like Pam who reach out, people like Captain Hook who reach out to them. This is really one of my strongest passions, is to make sure that these people understand that they are loved and they are cared for. They just have to look. They get caught up in a situation where everything looks bleak, and without the help of people like you and doing what you do, and I can't imagine running 13 miles, honestly. I take my dog for a walk, and it's one of the longest walks that I do is 3.5 miles. By the time I get back here, I'm ready to dial 911 and somebody give me some oxygen. I haven't even run. I'm just walking, so I can't imagine running 13 or 26 miles. My goodness. How often do you do this, by the way? How often do you do that?
Well, let's see. I run every day at least 8 miles. I just got back about an hour and a half ago. From running, and I did this morning I did about 9 miles, I think it was, 9.5.
Okay, so this is really kind of off topic, but with all the running that you're doing, are you experiencing problems with like your joints and stuff in your legs?
No, not at all. I take supplements. I take the glucosamine chondroitin, and believe it or not, since I was a little kid, my parents gave me cod liver oil every day. Never had a broken bone or a fracture. I still take that every day, so I think that helps. I have no problems whatsoever.
The reason I'm asking you is that years ago I met with somebody who started running. First they started walking. I was walking with them, walking long distances, 5 miles, 7 miles, and then started jogging, and then gradually got into running. And when they got into the running, and they were running, I don't know how many miles a day, 4 or 5 miles a day, after a short period of time, they began to have, their joints began to break down. That's why I was asking. I was wondering if it's common with people who run, they start to have joint problems from the pounding of
it is very common. It's very common, yeah. And most of the people don't know they should stretch and do other exercises to strengthen like your core and things like that. Take different supplements, the glucosamine, and I find that the cod liver oil helps a lot. I know it's disgusting, but it works, yeah.
So, do you, okay, I'm going to ask you a complicated question. Do you make jewelry that reflects the running? I know you do nautical jewelry with all kinds of sea life, but do you do jewelry that reflects what you do?
I have not done that. I've considered it, but I have not done that just because I've been so busy with the nautical jewelry. And so I just haven't really gotten into that. I've been to different running expos and seen different things where just about everyone that does jewelry has the same type of thing. So I was looking at doing something a little different, but I really haven't focused on it as much as I should. But yes, that's on the table.
I have another complicated question. When you're fishing, are you fishing with your shorts on, or are you fishing with your bikini on?
Both. I wear my running shorts with a bikini top usually, and then the bikini bottom just in case I decide to jump in. So
we were
combination of it.
We were talking about female anglers earlier today. Robert from Florida Fisherman Magazine was calling in, acknowledging the female anglers. And I was thinking about you because I saw a picture of you both with shorts and with bikini. So that's why I wanted to ask you, do you have a preference of one over the other?
No, I don't actually. It just so happens that I think that day I'd just come back from running and the boat was getting ready to take off, so I didn't have time to change or anything. So I had my bikini top underneath, so I just got on the boat and left. That was the day I caught the big dolphin, I think.
Nice.
I saw the picture of that.
Yeah. What size boat were you on, and do you remember what they were using for bait?
Yeah, we were using Bally. No, actually, no. I had an alibi lure on there, a little small white one, and nice. I was on a 32 CB or something like that, a 30-something CB, and it was right off the wall in Palm Beach where we caught that. And Excellent. Believe it or not, that particular mahi-mahi, when we opened it to clean it, it had about 5 little crabs in it. So it had already eaten quite a bit when it came out to the bait. Yeah.
Crab. In order for them to get crabs, they're coming up to the beach, right?
No, the weed line.
Kind of float in the weeds.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Okay. Yeah. Off the weed lines. Wow.
Right.
That's
so, that was very interesting.
I've
never caught a marlin before. My goal is to catch a marlin. I've never caught a marlin. I've caught just about everything except for a marlin and a rooster fish. So I guess I have to go to Costa Rica.
Yeah. I was in Costa Rica a couple of years ago for a kayak tournament over there and landed a rooster fish. It was pretty awesome. It's a giant jack.
Is that what it is?
Wow, yeah, it's beautiful. As a matter of fact, I had a customer who caught a rooster fish over in, I think it was California, actually. They sent me a picture of it, and they wanted a custom-made rooster fish pendant. This lady, every time her husband catches something, they go on these exotic fishing vacations like Tropic Star Lodge and all that. But they caught a rooster fish, and so every time he catches a new fish, she makes a pendant of it. And she goes very elaborate. She wanted this one with, how they have the black stripes along the side?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one, instead of the black stripes like with enamel or something or antiquing, she wanted black diamonds along the side, and it was two-sided.
Wow.
So we did it like that. I have a picture, I think, on my Facebook page, the Nautical Jewelry Facebook page. But we did it like that with a diamond eye. It came out just beautiful. I know the dorsal fin. Go ahead.
So you'll do custom pennants for people?
Oh, yeah, custom anything. We welcome custom orders, and we do quite a bit of them. Yeah, so we do custom orders. We have all our own molds and waxes. We own all our copyrights ourselves, and our designs are not really available anywhere else. Everything is unique to nautical jewelry. You see a lot of nautical jewelry out there, but Captain Marty, who was the original owner, he actually went through the fish dictionaries with, the ones that tell you the genus and species and all that, and how many, their bone structure and all that. So he created his fish like the real fish that you would actually see, when you catch one. So ours are pretty unique to nautical jewelry. You don't really see those pieces out there.
I think it's kind of important to point out as well that Maria just started doing this a couple of months ago, right? You just started doing this a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah, just a couple of months ago, times 10, I guess, or times 100, I don't know. But, I've been doing it for a couple of months.
How many years have you been doing this? How long has the company been around?
The company's been around about 45 years, and Captain Marty, I worked with him in the very beginning, and then I went off to corporate for a while, and I came back, so I just kind of missed it. But, he's Captain Marty's 90 years old now, but he's still involved with us.
Wow.
He still has a, hands-on approach to it, and he's pretty much the backbone to the whole thing.
So we've got 40 years of experience. When you're talking with someone like Maria in nautical jewelry, it's not, I was being facetious, it's not somebody that just started a couple of months ago and has little to no experience. This is someone that has been through a couple of rodeos, if you will, and has the experience, has the know-how, has the equipment, anything from standard stuff that she makes to custom stuff that she makes, and anything in between. You can find her. How do they find you? Let's do it that way. How do they find you, Maria?
Yeah, our website is www.nauticaljewelry.net. Some people put .com, but it's .net. So again, that's www.nauticaljewelry.net. And then you can call us. It's 305-271-0372. And again, that's 305. Go ahead.
Go ahead. 305.
271-0372.
There's a little bit of a delay, and I apologize. Sometimes we experience this when we're trying to communicate back and forth. You're talking, but I don't hear it until I begin to talk, and so I apologize for the delay there, and we inadvertently speak over each other. Maria, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to call in. I wish you well, my friend. I'm going to have you back on because I so much enjoy having you on. And you're a female angler on top of that.
Yeah.
Well done, lady.
I haven't been out in a while. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and it was a pleasure being on the show.
Thank you, Maria. God bless. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's Maria Diaz. She's with Nautical Jewelry. We're running down the clock here, ladies and gentlemen. We're slowly running out of time. But before we go, I want to take just a moment or two and thank Pam Worth, one of the top kayak anglers, female kayak anglers in Florida. Thank you for coming in and sharing with me this morning. What an honor and a privilege it has been to have her here with me. Any parting words for our listening audience, Miss Pam?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you. This radio show is great. A lot of good information out there. And if you're a kayaker, even please, if you're going offshore or even inshore, let people know where you are and fish with a buddy.
Yeah. I think that's a very solid piece of advice, and it's something that we have supported time and time again. If you're going out, make sure people know where you're going out. Have some kind of plan in place. Captain Hook will be one of the first to tell you they didn't do that, and he almost lost his life because of a simple thing like that. Anyway, our time is up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. We'll be back in a week. It is the Fish Florida Show. See you in a week.